Hello everyone, welcome to Boxes with Brenda. It's a pleasure to see you here today. Today we are working on Treat Box 311 and this treat box is sized perfectly to hold, oh my goodness, I'm having problems here, sorry about that, yikes. Let me get back to here, sorry. This treat box is sized perfectly to hold cards. I don't know if you can see that there, but they are 3.5 by 3.5 cards, and they go into 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 envelopes. So the boxes are sized at, well, the top is sized at 4 by 4, and the bottom is sized at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. I am going to just go here for a moment to show you I've made a few different varieties, and all of the instructions are going to be uploaded over into a PDF at Creative Treats Community Facebook group. So you can go over there and download the instructions for all of the boxes that I'm going to be talking about here today. The basic size is a 1 1/8 inch deep, and it's made from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper plus some decorative paper. And so the bottom is 311B, the top is 311A, and then I have a couple of other variants. I've made some tops out of a 6 by 6 piece of paper as well. There's some pictures of it, and I have made some that are a bit deeper, more 2.25 inches deep, and then one that's an inch deep from a 6 by 6. So I've got lots of variants there. I'm going to put it back to this particular one and then change this over to my work surface to explain to you how to put this box together. This particular box, well, actually before I put it together, I'm going to show you a couple of them here. So this is one of the smaller boxes. This is made by a 6 by 6 piece of paper, and you'll see it's double walled, so it's a little bit of a stronger thing for this light paper, and it just sits on top like that. And this particular box is also a double walled. If you can see in there, it's a little bit tricky with the light, but there you can see that the bottoms come in there. And then this particular size, though, is just a single walled box. You can see it doesn't fold over at all like this one here does. So it's a little bit not as rigid as this particular one. And I did make also some bigger boxes here, and these are all also single walled boxes. They are deeper, and what we are working on here is the top, like this one right here, of a double walled box that has decorative paper on it. And the way that that goes together is we put tape here because we are going to fold these over and tape those in. And then we've put 2 strips of tape here because these little flaps here come in and hold, this tape here holds the flaps in place well, and then turn the other one over. So that's essentially how it is going to go together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel up this 2-sided tape that has a protective paper on it, and if you have problems peeling up the tape, you always just push it down a little bit harder and it will come up. Now what we want to do is peel up these 2 pieces of paper, and what you do is you line it up there, and then you gently with your other finger push the tab into spot place there, and then we repeat it on this side. And then what you're able to do, and you do try to line it up as square as possible. I always make my tops 1/8 inch bigger than my bottoms, and what that allows them to do is to be fairly snug fit but still come on and off okay. And you want them to line up as square as possible because you don't want your tops to be too small and your bottoms to be too big, because they'll be a bit tricky to do. So there we go. That is a top that we have put together. Now I wanted to talk about a couple of the other ones here. This one here, I haven't folded it yet, but this I am making with 2-sided paper. And you will notice that unlike the first one that I did, do I have an example of this? I should have showed you this before, but on the ones from cardstock, I actually cut off this little tab here and I just leave the one here. But I have found that the edges are a little bit, particularly out of this lighter paper, instead of a cardstock, they do tend to tear sometimes. So what I have found that it's handy to do is to leave and not trim away any of those tabs. And then all that I do is I put the tape all the way along here instead of just for this part. And I make the side of the box by peeling up this tape. Sorry, it's a little bit tricky here. Let me just get that tape up. And then I fold it over here. So this is going to form the side of the box, and this is going to be a double thick tab, which is fine. It's not too bulky under here, but it does give some reinforcement for the corners of the box. Okay, that is why we are doing that. And now I shall peel up this tape right here. Having problems, should have pushed it down harder. Put that there. And then this is going to go together the same way as the other. These tabs here are going to get taped onto this second piece of tape here. They're going to get held in place by that while we're assembling it. And just put that right there like that. And we put this one here like that. And then we fold it over. And we'll do the same right here. So I was making cards in my classes that I do on Tuesday morning for the Dementia Society, and I gave them all boxes that we put together for it. So that was kind of a fun change. Usually we don't make boxes, and I think I did something a little bit wrong there in that it's not quite square, but I think it's good enough. Yeah, so we made some cards like this. So that should fit perfectly onto one of these bottoms that we have put together. That was sized at 3 7/8 by 3 7/8 instead of 4 on the top. Okay, now the other thing that I wanted to show you is these ones double-walled jewelry style boxes I call my type 2. My type 1 box is this style of jewelry box, and it's a single-walled one. You noticed on those ones I had the tape on the wrong side of the paper. On this I have the tape on the right side of the paper because these two flaps, the way this is going to go together, is these are going to tuck in under here like that to form the sides of the box. Okay, so I'm just going to peel up that tape here right now on two of the sides and tuck them in, and then I'll do the same on the other side. While this uses less paper, I do find that the double-walled ones is a much stronger and cleaner design because the tabs just get all nicely covered up. So in this particular situation, I'll show you, what you get is you can see, let's see if I can get the lighting going okay. It's sorry, on white, it's super bright. Anyway, you can see it there a little bit, and there they just sort of show. Whereas here, everything is nice and clean on the inside like that. There we go. And then here, yeah, if I put it down here, you can see it's still so bright on the white. All right, so let's peel these up and then we'll put it together. And that was about all that I had to show you. How are we doing for time here? I have to go and help at the Toastmasters contest, so I need to keep this to 10 minutes, so I'm gonna call it quits here. But if you have any questions, just leave me a comment or reach out to me. And as I say, these boxes are going to, all the instructions and a link to this video are going to be over at the Creative Treats Community Facebook group. All right, and then that will just fit on there. So you can see we've got all kinds of different variations of boxes here that you can make using the instructions here, and they are sized perfectly to hold these cards with the envelopes. Oh, that was the one other thing that I wanted to tell you, is I also put the envelope instructions in there as well with the dimensions and everything. So if you want to make envelopes for this that are the this flap here, like the triangular flap, using a punch board like this, what you do, and I'll show that in another video, but what you do is you use a 6" by 6" piece of paper and you punch it at 3 inches on all the sides. Okay, so that, and score. That's how that one is done. And then I also like to make some with a flap like this. You can round the corners or not, but I make them from a 5" by 8.5" piece of paper. And then the top flap is 1 3/4 and the bottom is at 3. And then the sides are 5/8 of an inch. And I just wanted to quickly show you how I do the cutting for those. So what I do is I just cut in slightly at an angle on each of those. So I taper everything in slightly and I cut in like that. And I cut in like that. There. And there. And there. And then when I put the tape onto it, what I do, just get a roll of tape here. I put the tape on the top flap like this, if you can see that okay. And then what I do is I put the tape on here, because after I fold the envelope in, let's just see here, we'll fold this in. And I used to do some punching of it, but I actually find I like it just as fine with a square edge, and it's a lot less fussy. You don't have to go in on a corner punch and punch out all the corners. So then I just peel up these 2 pieces of tape, fold those over. And the reason you want to put the tape here instead of on these is that this is shorter. So you don't want to have extra tape sitting up here, and then that will perfectly hold one of these cute little cards, and they'll just pop right in there. And then after that, you can peel that off and we're done. That's all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me for making these cute little boxes, and I hope that you will join me again soon. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.